Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Vinny, of course. Who else is it gonna be? Hope you guys are all having a good week. Hope you weenies are doing well. It looks like the time has come. The cycle season 3 is here. So we're gonna cover up the patch notes for it. I've had a good chance to jump in and play today, and it feels great, honestly. You know, there is a 100% CPU usage bug going on when you're in the lobby or the station, so just be aware of that. But otherwise feels good. Got lots of PvP, got a lot of quests done. Hopefully you guys are kicking butt out there. Let's check out the patch notes out, shall we? Because season 3 brought some crazy changes to the cycle, so let's check it out together. Here we go. A lot of good stuff happening with season 3. So starting it off, the big one, no more wipes. So they say, you heard it here first, the final wipe is here. Players will start season 3 completely fresh, so campaign reset, inventory wipe, everything. And with that, they've made a good amount of adjustments to the economy and stuff like that. So we'll touch on that later. There's not a ton of info on what future plans are to sort of sustain everything. But to me, it seems like they're going to go the route of optional wipes, where it's maybe like something similar to like a Call of Duty Prestige, where you get up so high and then you can reset and do the quest stuff over again. Which I like that. So, you know, people who don't have a ton of time to play can keep putting time in and get up there eventually. And people who can grind the crap out of it, they get bored, they can reset and do it again. Now, the one thing that this will keep you from doing, I guess, is having that sort of fresh wipe experience where everybody's on the same playing field. You're all running around with butt cheek loot, fighting each other. So, we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm sure we'll get some events and stuff like that that'll bring back that feeling. So we'll just have to see what they do. So number 2, free loadout rounds. This is cool. So I've yet to try this, but I did check my free loadout. So the way it works is, instead of bringing in your pre-made kit, they have an option that you see here, this free ICA or whatever loadout. So you have both your options, right? Your loadout, this free one. If you take the free one, it's whatever is there. You go in with it. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, ideal if you're new and you don't want to lose gear, or maybe you're just super broke from sending it all the time. Great option. I like this idea. Sort of helps new players get into it. I think this will actually help bring a lot of new people to the game. So I like this change. This is a good one. So moving on, guys. Loadout presets. This I'm a fan of. So essentially, now when you go into your inventory or your tab screen, you can preset loadouts. So I don't know, maybe you got a bunch of green armors and green bags and helmets and you like the mana core or something, you can set that up. So that way you don't have to spend a ton of time during raids. You can just hit preset A, equip, deploy, you're good to go. Saves you the time of getting a kit ready. So I like that too. Just adds a little bit of flexibility with it and saves some time. So I'm up for that. The Howler. Now, this guy is like a giant mosquito. This is the new boss that flies around in the first map. He's huge. He will aggro you fairly far away, and he will chase you around. It's like fighting a flying Jeff times 5. He's pretty cool. I haven't sat down to kill him yet because he takes an absolute butt ton of ammo. And he's got a cool kind of scan ability where he sort of does like an X-ray kind of scan. If you're within the area, he'll aggro you. It's a neat kind of thing they added, so look out for this guy because he's there, and let me tell you, he hurts. So look out for this man. I'm also guessing that seems like he drops some stuff when you kill him, because I've killed a couple players in PvP that have had some Howler items. So I'm guessing either we're gonna see something crafting wise or a quest where we have to kill him kind of thing. So if you guys run into that, let me know because I'm curious. This is what's gonna make or break this game, because these extraction looter shooters are like a breeding ground for cheaters. This is the ideal game for them. I know the cycle has improved massively from, you know, open beta, closed beta, season 1 with cheaters, and they've done a great job with it. So some of this stuff is definitely going to give us an insight on how they do that without giving too much info, as well as it's their sort of future and current protection to prevent cheaters from coming back when they get banned, stuff like that. So shielded matchmaking helps give our trusted players an added layer of security and makes the creation of alt accounts much more difficult for cheaters. So the idea behind this is when someone cheats and gets banned because the cycle's a free game, they go make new accounts. They download the cheats or whatever, they just inject the cheats and they're good to go. The idea behind shielded matchmaking is to keep the people that have, you know, your one account or maybe your one account and your alt account playing here, and these other people that have now, you know, been banned and got more accounts and got banned again and got more accounts, they're on these outer server layers here. So it's much harder for them to get in. So that trusted status, this is from what I understand of it, so take this with a grain of salt, but this is from listening to the anti-cheat dev interviews that they've done with the Jaeger there. The way it works is your first account that you use a cycle with is trusted. After that, as you create alt accounts and alt accounts and alt accounts, they lose that trusted status, and you end up, say you're on your third alt account, doesn't have trusted status. You're gonna end up playing with people that also don't have trusted status. So I really like this idea. Cheating victim compensation. This is nothing new. They've been doing this for a while now. Essentially, you die in a raid, you report a guy because you think he's sus and he gets banned, you get your stuff back. This is an awesome way to combat that. And it makes you feel a little bit better when you die to a blatant cheater. Even when it's not blatant and you're sus of and you report you die a weird death and you get your stuff back and you're like, aha, that guy got banned. Because it tells you. I love this idea. Data obfuscation. Obfuscation makes the creation and development of cheats more difficult and time consuming. So essentially, this is their proactive anti-cheat, if you will. This is separate. This is not BattleEye doing this. This is a separate entity. And it's just making the development of cheats a lot harder, which is awesome, right? Games are crashing when they're trying to make cheats and inject them. Awesome. A dedicated anti-cheat team. This is also huge. And they've had this now for a little bit, and they've been doing a good job, clearly, because even just playing the end of season 2, checking it out, and sort of deciding if I'm going to play season 3 or not, I am. So be ready for that, because there's some cycle content coming. This was a huge improvement. Having a dedicated anti-cheat team where you don't have to pull devs away from other areas of development to work on, huge, massive. Third-party tools. So this is just them working closely with BattleEye and the other companies that they're using for anti-cheat to make it harder for cheaters. Win-win. We'll take it. And many more back-end improvements to our anti-cheat system. So they're not going to give us much info there, because the more info we have, the more info cheaters have. Not a win. Now that we've talked about the huge, massive, once again, massive anti-cheats improvement from Jaeger here, let's get down into the sort of economy, weapon improvements, stash, that kind of stuff. So economy tuning for non-wiping games. So essentially, they've buffed loot rooms, like locked loot rooms, the ones you have to do the puzzles to get in the door. They've made those better. They've also adjusted pricing of stuff, spawn rates, all that stuff to make the game feel better now that it doesn't wipe anymore, which is a good thing, because this definitely needed to happen if they're never going to have a wipe again. So, and I'm also sure that there's going to be more of this as we go along. They're going to be tuning and, you know, adjusting, buffing, nerfing loot rooms, stuff like that. Just expect that to change as we go and as they sort of see how the game plays out. Balancing improvements. Sorry, we're gonna kind of skip over the new weapons and stuff. Basically, they've added Mark 1, Mark 2 variants of guns. These are only like found in raid. As you see here, he's found this bolt action Mark 2. So keep an eye out for those. They're a little bit better than the base versions. Balance changes needed to be made to accommodate the non-wiping systems. The biggest change you might notice is how quickly armor durability will decrease when attacked by players and or creatures during fights. I noticed this today. I went in full green suit, 1 PvP fight, and a couple creature fights. My armor, after a fight and like a strider hit me, absolute 0. So this I've noticed right off the bat. I like the change though, mostly because it's a money sink, right? You're gonna need to repair that armor. If your armor dies quicker and you die quicker, it's more money you gotta dump in. So this is, in essence, it's a money sink. I don't know, I like this change. You guys will have to let me know. Maybe you think it's been decreased too much and you're dying too easy. I like the change though. It makes the fights feel more intense, knowing that your armor is not gonna last as long. You're not as much of a tank. You can't take all the shots from the mana core kind of thing. I don't know, I really like this change. Honestly, it's in a good spot now. We'll have to see how that plays out as well. Yeah, I don't know. I like this change. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. So now we're gonna get more into, we already kind of touched on this. Let's touch on this early game experience update. So for new players, for returning players, they changed some stuff. Returning players will no longer be required to complete the tutorial missions once they've completed once. Awesome, because I hated doing that every time. During the first drop and tutorial, prospectors will now hear gunshot sounds to get them accustomed to more of the sounds they should expect to hear during their time on Fortuna 3. Before, it used to just be dead kind of quiet and you run around and do your stuff. And now, even though, you know, there's no prospectors around, you're going to hear that stuff anyways, just to kind of get used to it, which I like this change as well. Pop-ups and voiceover lines for early tasks should better inform users of what their goals should be. That's a pretty obvious one. The flow of early game has been fine-tuned to make the process run more smoothly as players progress through each task. And then we also have early game matchmaking has been significantly tuned to better ease new players into the game. Now, they're not very specific here on what they mean. What I gather from this is they've tuned matchmaking in a way that new players are not gonna hop into a lobby with old Timmy Two-Time over there that has full purple and a flechette already. It's not a good experience for new players. It makes the game feel like it's hopeless. You're never gonna get to that point. So welcome change. This is great for new players. This is great for returning players that, you know, maybe you're not starting at the beginning with all of us. Great change. So I'm not going to touch too much on the battle pass here because I feel like either we'll do a separate video on the battle pass or you guys can experience it for yourselves, check it out. I don't want to ruin it for you. So hop in game, check out the battle pass. I'll do another video in about a week, but I won't ruin it for you here. Okay, so now we have new prospector archetypes. All prospectors will have a new customizable default base suit. So you'll be able to change colors, all that kind of jazz. This is awesome. Since it's a free-to-play game, we have to assume Battle Pass and Shop is going to be the #1 money driver here with the cycle, which leads me to believe that we should be seeing some awesome skins to drive purchases. So I'm looking forward to this big time. Charms I'm not so big on. I don't know about you guys, but weapon skins, armor skins, I'm all for it. Give me some good ones. Take my money. So we have Unbound Synth, a prospector which is perfect for you. Less human, more android prospector with a few emotions, maybe none at all, and the strongest dedication. We don't really get an image of it, but make of it as you will. Next we have the Artillery. She will be joining the team very soon after dealing with her internal reckoning. So this just means they are still working on her. The Jungle Bandit, a sneaky one that thinks adding a couple of bushes makes him look visible. But in reality, it just looks dashing. He'll be with us later in the season, still collecting some bushes to perfect its outfit. So they're still working on him too. Authority Operative, without any communication from HQ and without pay, even the Authority's commandos need to earn a living. Where better to put their skills to use than the planet's hellish surface? That's fair. So we're gonna see this later on. At least it sounds like these two for sure later on. Not sure about this Authority Operative, so maybe this is later on as well. I think it's just looks that are going to be different here, but we'll have to see what way they go with this. Be interesting if each class sort of had a different ability, but I don't know if that's the way they want to go with it, so we'll have to see. This is the list of just straight changes. So we're gonna fly through this. We'll touch on some stuff quickly, some good changes. If I think there's some weird ones, some that I've gotten a chance to test so far. And I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. So, changes. DLSS 3 has been implemented and will be available for those with compatible graphics processors. I'm sure for some people that's great. For me, doesn't really matter. Not a bad change, because that just means more people can run the game. To make them a more exciting endgame challenge, laser drills will now be exclusive to Crescent Falls. They may return to Bright Sands again in the future with some balancing tweaks. Interesting. No more laser drills on Bright Sands. Interesting. That'll make it a little bit harder, because chances are, if you're going to Crescent Falls, you're going to run into some more geared people, so this will be an interesting one. I like that change, honestly. The laser drill's you know, a more sort of prestigious thing, so I think it makes sense to have it take place on at least the hard map. I think the forge is too much. The Crusher Caverns have had a massive overhaul. The caves will now be significantly more difficult endgame activity that will take team coordination and top-end gear to survive. Prospectors will now take a short ride on the evac ship before fully extracting. Enjoy the beautiful panoramic views of Fortuna 3 before returning to the station, but don't get shot. So, if you haven't played yet, the way this works is you call your evac ship, you get on it like normal. Instead of the doors going beep and sealing you in, it's like an energy door that comes down and seals it. Now, you can walk through these energy doors. So, be careful who you're talking smack to as they're flying out, because they might just peek out the door and mow you down. I like that change. Plus, you get to see the scenery. Good change. I like it. Players will now have a chance to find weapons with preloaded attachments while looting different areas. The rarity of these attachments will determine its chances of spawning. Attachments, consumables, and items all have clear numerical values about how they affect different mechanics. So we're talking like, instead of it just saying extra damage, it'll say +1 penetration on the green one. Prospectors will now have the ability to redeem promotion codes and coupons directly from the game to receive promotional items without going to their store launcher. I did this today. All you do is you hit tab, and then at the top you click store, and when you're in the store screen, you press R. You have to be at the station to do this. I don't think you can redeem in raid, but it's as easy as that. Names and descriptions of armor and helmets are now more descriptive of their functions and better fit the lore. Tharis Island will not be accessible or unlockable by way of campaign missions immediately start of the season. As a result, crafting or player upgrades that require items only obtained on Tharis will be temporarily inaccessible until April 19th, when the island will be globally unlocked. There's a couple of reasons you would do this. One, they're slowing progression like crazy, which with no wipes happening it's necessary, let's be real. And two, it stops people from going right to Tharis Island at the beginning, you know, farming up whatever for a couple hours, going right to Tharis Island, crafting some of the best gear in the game, going back and absolutely destroying everybody and ruining it for everybody else, which I like that change. And then you have to also think, like, everybody's gonna farm up and be ready for this thing to drop on the 19th. Everybody's gonna have their stuff ready. It's gonna be an all-out war. The community will be at around the same level by then. And then that thing will open and everybody will be rushing to it. So it'll be great. It'll be an all-out battle. I like this idea too. A hard limit of 10 million K marks have been added to cap the amount of K marks a player can own at any given time. So once you hit 10 million, whatever you have, there's no point in selling it. I imagine it's still gonna let you sell because you're still gonna need inventory room, but you're not gonna make K marks from it. Improved the prevention of players spawning next to each other to give prospectors more breathing room when they drop onto Fortuna 3. This one's huge. The amount of times, like in the past, like closed beta and the season 1, where like we drop onto the planet and 30 seconds in we're into a 2v3 fight with a 3-man squad who just saw our spaceships drop 20 feet to the west and ran over. and you just lose your loot right away, or you kill the 3-man, they have absolutely nothing but the kit they came in with, and you just feel terrible about it. As that happens to you, when it happens and puts you in the situation where you're doing that to someone else, it doesn't feel that great. This is a good one. So now we're into bug fixes, not just changes. So fix a bug where the speed penalty would persist after switching items from a charged heavy melee attack without performing the heavy melee attack. Removed an invisible collision barrier that prevented players from interacting with Osiris faction leader. Never ran into that one either. Items will no longer visually duplicate themselves when sorting inventory or moving items from backpack to stash. I have run into that one. This is not completely fixed. I noticed this is not fixed today when I was playing the start of Season 3. Weapons, tools, and consumables will no longer vanish from your hands when swapping between grenades and other consumables. This is also still in the game. And you can just swap to another gun or like a med or something and then swap back and it'll usually come back, but it's still in the game, so just so you know. Many more bug fixes, but too many to list for the sake of saving space. Okay, that's fair. I imagine there's a ton. There are some cases where a player can get stuck on a bottom FTUE task. A simple restart of the game should resolve that, but our team is working on a more permanent fix. So if at any point you get stuck on one of his tasks, restart should fix it. Last but not least, some of the new items with additional effects are missing an indicator on the icons to imply so. Once you go to the preview or see them in game, you'll be amazed, and we'll be fixing that little marker issue. So they're working on it. Awesome. So guys, that's all we got. That's the end. Pretty decent sized list. I hope you guys are jumping into Fortuna and the cycle season 3. I'm back on the cycle, and I will be, as we all know the direction Tarkov's gone lately, so some cycle it is. Let me know how you guys are liking season 3 in the comments below. If you're enjoying the content here on the channel, and you appreciate the update videos, the bug fixes, the patch notes, that kind of stuff, or you just like cycle content in general, hit that subscribe button, because there's a lot to come for season 3. I got some tons of gameplay to upload for you guys. We'll do some guides and stuff like that, so stay tuned for that stuff. Get subscribed. If you found this informative and you enjoyed yourself, hit the like button. It helps me, helps get the info out there. I hope you weenies have a good week. Hope I see you on Fortuna 3. Don't get foam. Peace, guys.
I can fix myself if I write rhymes, but I'm lying to myself, and I know that it's a sign that the more I try to sing and the more I ink it down, I get further in my head, and the ink, it makes me drown. All these words I put on paper, they become my traitor, saying I'm a failure. Fuck with my eraser.